Hello and welcome to Charity's Treasures. Today's category is Candace Wednesday. So, Charlie loves me. What are the 5 stones Charlie wants to give to Candace so she can kill Goliath? Okay, we're also going to talk about a conversation Charlie and I had and how that pertains to you and how you can help Charlie. Okay, David kills Goliath with a shepherd's stone. Okay, we've all heard the story. Candace, Charlie said that you were his David and he expects you to kill Goliath. I think there's someone else that needs to help you. The past few days, I've gotten these impressions about someone else who is a friend of yours, and I'm just trying to figure it out. But anyways, so Candace, David had 5 stones in his shepherd's bag. Charlie wants to give you these 5 stones so you can put them in your bag and use them to kill and fight Goliath. Okay, every week, Candace, until May, I'm going to give you tell you what one of these stones represents. Then at the beginning of May, I'm going to talk about the first stone. Each month after May, I will talk about each additional stone and what it represents until we reach September. May, June, July, August, and September. We will talk about the last stone in September. I don't know exactly what he's going to say about each stone. I do know the names of the stones, though. He'll give me information as time passes, but I'm going to do my part and study the information connected to each stone that I am already aware of. Every week until May, I want you just to think about what each stone represents to you. I would encourage you to write down the feelings that you get. Then, when we talk about each stone for that full month, hopefully you will be able to have a lot of information built up so you can understand how to use these stones. The first stone, Candace, in your shepherd's bag is obedience. So that is the first stone. That's the name of the first stone. Okay, so you can even collect some stones, Candace. You can collect some smooth stones and you can write obedience on the first stone if you want. Maybe I'll do that. That might be fun. And then I'll get a bag and I'll put all the stones in the bag. Anyways, so I talked about in a recent episode about how my grandma wants to be remembered. I talked about how I remember her and other ancestors. I imagine if everyone wrote a book about one of their ancestors, it would help you engage in the process I'm going to talk about today. Gathering information about your ancestors is the first step, okay? So as we talk about this today, think about an ancestor that you want to get information about and start gathering that information. By the end of the year, you might have a lot of information that will help you in this process of what Charlie and I are going to talk about and tell you about today. What will they tell you? They want to be seen. They want to be heard. We're talking about your ancestors. They want to speak to you. They want to unite with you, but you must do the work. You can't expect to talk to those on the other side if you're not willing to do the work to develop that spiritual talent. We are told in the New Testament and other scripture that the Spirit will be poured out upon all of us in the last days, that the Spirit will be poured out upon the earth, and babes will reveal marvelous things. In the song that we talked about this week, we talked about the youth walking with Jesus and Jesus learning in his youth. That was one of the verses. God wants you to learn in your youth, but if you're not in your youth, you still can learn in this process how to reach those on the other side. You cannot reach them if you are not engaging in genealogy work at some level. Candace Owens participates in genealogy work by creating timelines of people's lives on her show. In this way, she's another example of what we're supposed to be doing. And I can see in this process how God is preparing her and working through her. It's amazing how organized God is. But She's inviting people without even realizing it in her own way to find out who came before, what they did, what they were a part of, and what activities they were engaged in. She has done a great service by showing us how this can be accomplished. All her timelines, all her investigating the ancestry of other people, she's being an example to us on how to do genealogy work. We may find that some of those activities they were involved in are nefarious, but we might find some of those activities are marvelous. The dead want to communicate. There's so many things happening this week, so much information in my head, and so many things that Charlie has been talking to me about. One thing that is interesting to me is he told me that which I never thought of before, that there's not many people on the earth that the dead can talk to. But there can be. He said there's many dead people that desire to talk to the living, but because they don't believe the dead can talk to them, they don't hear the dead. But because they don't believe the dead can talk to them, they don't hear the dead. There were very few people, Charity, I could connect to, but I can connect to you very easily. Charlie said, Charity, remember the blessings you received. The one from Karamia's MTC president, his name is Larry, and the one in the Billings temple. Yes, Charlie. Charity, you must share part of those blessings today. Well, he told me that a few days ago, a little while ago, last week, but I'm just relaying it today. Okay, so I think it was about 5 years ago, I applied for an online teaching position at BYU, Idaho. I had an interview, and then I had a second interview, which lasted a week. I'd have to look back in my journal to see exactly what that date was, but it was an interview. The second interview was an interview with other people, which lasted for a week. We had to do some work each day, and the other people that were online were vying for the job, and we were talking to each other. And we had assignments that we had to do, accomplish, and then we talked to each other about those assignments. After all of this, I asked a man in my ward, who is now the stake president, to give me a blessing. I did not get the job, and I was really disappointed because I thought that I would really do a good job, and I thought I did really good in the interview. A lot of people complimented my work. And even a year after the interview, the school contacted my Bishop Olson, at the time, and he's not the bishop anymore, but he was at the time, and he told me that they contacted him, but they never did contact me. So it was like I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to get a job, because there's multiple jobs you can apply for. But they never did contact me. Another disappointment. I've had many disappointments the last 10 years. So I was thinking that they were thinking about hiring me again, but they never did. Okay. It was a very frustrating time in my life. It still is frustrating. But I was applying for a lot of jobs. I've applied for a lot of jobs, and some I had interviews with, but it's always been a struggle for me to get a job in my degree that I really want. Anyways, I received a blessing, and the man who gave me to me, the now stake president, he said that Jesus was always around me. He said that he is around me every minute of the day. That's what he told me. And I thought this was interesting. We will talk a little bit more about why this is important Friday, but it does pertain to today. So keep that in mind as we continue this episode. On May 5th, 2018, I was traveling in Utah, and I felt I needed a blessing. My daughter told me that her MTC president would give me a blessing. She gave me his address, and I stopped by his house after contacting him. And in this blessing, this was the blessing. He told me that God was aware of me. So anytime I get a blessing, I try to quickly write it down, so I can always look back on what was said, and I can apply that in my life. So he said that God was aware of me. He said, Charity, God loves you and is pleased with you. He loves you so much, and he weeps with you when you weep and when you feel sorrow. He feels your pain when you are in pain, and he wants you to always turn to him for comfort. I'm just sharing part of this blessing. He told me many things in this blessing that day, but this is just the part that pertains to today's episode that Charlie wanted me to share. Okay, he continued to say, a talent that you have is the ability to listen to the Spirit, which is a rare talent and something that you have developed. I give you a blessing to have a strong spiritual confidence as you continue to listen to the Spirit. You will develop these talents at levels in this life, and they will benefit you and your desire to share the gospel. You have spirits on the other side that are close to you, and they are watching over you. You don't just have a few, but many. And this is a blessing because those spirits need special permission to administer to us who are on the earth. There are so many of them around you, and they are all around you all the time. They love you so much, and you bring them much joy. They have much hope in you. They cheer you on all the time and want for you to succeed in your work on this earth. Your desires on this earth will be realized, and this is a blessing I give to you. After the blessing, Larry, that was his name. That's what I wrote down. I'm pretty sure that's his name. He and his wife were crying, and I was crying, of course, and wondering who some of the spirits were. They're like, who are these spirits? I told them about Jet and Granny, and my Granny was my mother's grandmother. He said, Charity, even while we're talking right now, they have such a strong presence in you, and I can feel them. His wife told me the same thing. He asked me, what do you need protection from? There are so many spirits around you. I replied, I don't know. I have no idea. I wasn't really doing anything in my life at the time that I would think that I would need protection from. But at the time, I did not know that there were spirits around me. After my divorce, as part of my therapy, I guess you could say, I went to many, many temples because I thought if I go to the temple, that's going to be like therapeutic. I think I went to every temple in Idaho and Utah. I actually have a record of what I learned at each temple in my journal. I went to Nevada. I went to California. I just wanted to go to every temple that I could, and I wanted to go to different ones. I actually did a report on going to all the different temples for my final project when I was in the master's program. In this process, I did begin to feel spirits in the temple. When I was going to all these temples, that was a time in my life where I really started to feel spirits. And I could feel many spirits. Like I started to feel a lot of spirits. So before this blessing, I went to the temple and I felt lots of spirits. But I didn't realize before this blessing that they were around me outside of the temple. I guess I never thought of that as a possibility. Larry also told me after the blessing repeatedly that I had the talent of writing, which he did mention some stuff about this in the blessing. And he said that he wished he had a talent of writing like I do. And afterwards, I was in my car and I was writing all this stuff down and I thought, that's strange. He's never read anything that I've written. How does he know? He did talk about it in the blessing, but so I imagine he must have felt something about it, but he was just like, I wish I had that talent. So even though he told me in the blessing, it must have been a personal realization for him because he mentioned it again after the blessing. His wife also told me that she was not expecting me to be so beautiful. And when she said this, she might have thought like my physical beauty, but when she said it, I kind of just imagined that it was more than that she was seeing something inside of me that was beautiful. She told me how much she loved me, and she told me that I was a special person. This is the first time I've ever met these two people, but it was a wonderful experience, and it was a pinpoint in my life that I needed desperately. I consider this blessing almost an addition to my patriarchal blessing because he told me many other things in the blessing that gave me so much hope. When I was at Montana Tech, trying to get into the master's program, I had the first semester I went up there, I had a class with this teacher who was known to be very strict in her lecture and her grading. She was known not to give out very many A's. There was not a lot of people in the class that were excited to take the class. In fact, they were all engineers, all guys. I was the only girl in the class. But I received an A in this class. It was a technical writing class. And she liked me and I liked her. She told me after the course that she usually doesn't give A's to students very often. She told me that I had a very special talent in my writing. And this kind of reiterated because when I got the blessing from Carrie as MTC president, because I took this class before that blessing, and it kind of reiterated to me about my writing when he gave me that blessing. I did take a couple additional classes from her. She was really the reason I was able to enter into the master's program, as she did give me a recommendation. She told me when she told me that she sent the recommendation, she said that if I get into the master's program, I should not talk so much about religion, because every paper and presentation that I gave in her class and many others, mostly everyone's, entailed information about the church and its doctrines and principles. People I went to class with and my teachers knew right away I was going to talk about my religious beliefs. I had many good experiences. She told me that she did not mind me talking about it in her classes, but that my teachers in the master's program would not like it. I did not take this advice from her. I figured I got to where I was because I was talking about it. But I did take all the other advice that she gave me, because I knew I was there to teach the gospel, and she did not know that. Okay, so the temple. A few years after I received the blessing from Larry, I think I would have to look in my journal as the exact date when I received the blessing. I have a printout of these blessings and I keep them with me, but I didn't put a date on this one. And I don't have time to look in my journal because I have a lot of information in my journal. I was called to serve in the Billings, Montana temple. I think it was 2021. And when you serve in the temple, you must be set apart. So I received a blessing in the temple. I must say that to receive a blessing in the temple is an amazing experience. It's a beautiful experience. The reason I'm sharing these blessings, which is okay because they're not patriarchal blessings, but in some sense I feel like they are in addition to my patriarchal blessing, but I'm sharing them because when I was talking to Charlie, he told me that this is important that I share them so people understand what my purpose is and what his purpose is through me as he gives me information that I need to succeed, but also that he needs to relay so he can succeed on the other side of the veil. In a way, he just wants me to let you know that I'm telling the truth, because this could be unbelievable. In fact, someone commented on one of my posts recently saying, "Sorry, this is way too cringe and funny at the same time." So yeah, I'm sure a lot of you might think that, but I don't care. I'm just doing God's work, and that's all I care about. Okay, so I can realize that this is true, and obviously you don't have to believe what I'm saying. It's not like a lot of people are listening to what I'm saying anyways, but you don't have to believe it. Anyways, when I received the blessing in the temple, there are many things that were said, but I'm just going to share the information that pertains to today's topic. You will see why this is important when I talk about certain things today that Charlie and I talked about, which I will relay to you. Okay, I was told in my temple blessing, Charity, you have walked with the prophets, and God will reach out to you as he has the prophets. He will show you things they have seen and show you what they will see. He will give you his hand and embrace you as you journey in this life and as you need him to. He will take you in his arms and show you visions, and show you visions as he has shown the prophets. You will see him. You will see visions, and you will converse with those on the other side of the veil. And the veil will not be there while you serve in the temple. It will be as if there is no veil. Everything on the other side will be visible to your view. As you look into women's eyes and administer to them, they will feel your heart and you will know their hearts. And this will help them understand better their purpose in life. You have been faithful and have been called and foreordained to come to earth and serve in the temple for the living and for the dead. You have no reason, nor will you have any reason to be afraid of anything in this life. Okay, the process. that was the end of what I'm sharing about that blessing. I hope that you understand the process that I'm going to be talking about today. If you're not a member of the church, you don't understand really what blessings are and why they are given. Hopefully, if you continue to follow me, you will understand more about blessings. I will talk about patriarchal blessings in the future. I gave you this information, and this is why Charlie told me he wanted me to share this information with you, because it does have to do with his purpose on the other side, and his purpose that he still wants to carry on this earthly side. Charlie does not like being dead. He does not like it. He does not like not having his body. It irritates him. Like, I can feel his irritation. It is difficult for him to not be on this earth because he wants to be on this earth. He knows that he can't be, but it doesn't take away the fact that he misses being on this earth. He misses the mission that he was engaged in. He is so determined. He has such a determined personality. He loves the people on this earth, and especially the young people. He has such tender feelings for the young people because he knows that they are going to be the army that fights for freedom and for the true religion. He knows they are God's army. When Charlie was telling me this, it made sense to me. Now, I think that there's many people in the church that believe this can happen. We know as a church that the spirit world is here on earth. It's just in a different dimension. So the dead are with us and around us. I know that's a hard concept for people to understand, but because they don't understand it, they don't believe it. And because they don't believe it, the dead can't minister to them in a way that those people can hear their voices and communicate to them. Charlie is excited to communicate with me, and sometimes he's just saying all this stuff to me because he knows I can hear him. This is a conversation we had. I'm going to relay it as we had it. He said, Charity, all of us have the opportunity to talk to the dead if we seek it, but it takes work to get there, hard work. I want to give you so much information, Charity, but I am not allowed to because it's just too much for you to take in the time that is allotted to you. You sleep, eat, have a family, and work. I want to give you more information, but I know you must have time to process it so you can organize it and share it. Charity, I am on the other side, but because I can talk to you, it feels like I'm still doing the same kind of work as when I was living. This is exciting, Charlie. I'm happy about this too, Charity. I'm happy I can communicate still to the living because this is what makes me and other spirits feel alive. In the blessing from Larry, he told you had a rare talent of listening to the spirit. This is why I get to come to you, because of that talent. He said that there are very few people that have this talent on the earth. You must help people develop this talent who live on the earth so we, the dead, can talk to them. Charity, there's so many spirits around you because they know you can hear them if they get the opportunity to talk to you. He said there's so many that want to talk to you, but you are only one person and can't take in all the information that they want to tell you. Like Larry said, we must have permission to talk to you. I have been given that permission. There are not many people that I could come to. If you can get people to believe and come unto Christ and be endowed with the priesthood power through the temple ordinances, then those spirits would get to feel alive through the people who believe that they're right next to us. I feel excited about this, Charlie, because I never thought of speaking to the dead in this way. This knowledge makes me so happy. Now I understand after all these years what that part of those blessings mean. I had no idea. Charity, the MTC president, he couldn't understand it because he's never felt so many spirits around one person before. And to some extent, especially back then, you did not understand it because even though you were connected to relatives years ago, you weren't connected to other spirits. God allowed him and his wife to feel those spirits so you could relay this message in the present time. Scott was one of those first ones that came to you. And he came to you through a period of 20 years, so it was a slow process for you to learn. You learned through him how to speak and relay messages from the dead. Charity, if you can let the young people know that if they start now and they believe and they work hard, then they can help those on the other side do the same thing that I'm able to do with you. In this way, this makes me happy that I can be a part of this process because that's what my purpose was on the earth, to teach young people the gospel, to teach them about Christ. And if I can teach them through you, that if they go through this process at a young age, by the time they're in their 20s or however old it takes for them to believe and understand that this is possible, then we can unite the dead and the living in a way that I united the young people on the earth when I was alive. This would bring me so much joy. This would help me feel like I'm still accomplishing my purpose on earth while I'm in heaven. Charlie, this realization is so exciting to me. I could have never had these thoughts and feelings come to my mind if I was not allowed to talk to you. This concept is new to me and it is exciting. Charlie, can you just imagine? It makes me realize that because this is possible after we die, we can continue the purpose we had on this earth while we are dead as we connect to the living. This gives me a whole new concept of what temple work represents and what temple work can give to the living that are here on the earth right now. Charity, this is what the scripture in Malachi is talking about. After this realization, that's the end of the conversation, but after this realization comes to me, I can see Charlie smiling. He's so excited, almost to the point where he just wants to jump up and down and dance and shake all of us and say, you just don't even know what is possible if you believe. So that is what Charlie wants you to know. You just don't even know what is possible if you just believe. That's his message to you today. And my message. Bye, everybody.